Hey everybody, welcome back to Stars the Diamond. My name is Rhett, and today we're going to be sharing some recent pickups that I've had and some things that I'll be listing shortly on my eBay store. And so we're going to be kind of going through a lot of different periods of time, but just kind of wanted to give a quick overview of some things that I've been able to pick up over the last few weeks. Okay, the first thing is, I know I've shared a bunch of videos in the past about Zeenut cards, so I was able to kind of pick up a nice little collection of 1932 Zeenut cards, and I think even some 31s as well. But we're gonna kind of go over those first. And I have almost the entire 1932 Zeenut set, but this grouping came up, and they weren't particularly nice, but sometimes you pick up what you can when you can. And in this case, there was one card out of these 1932 Zeenuts that I really needed for my set. But there are some other great ones. Julian Vera is a 1927 Yankee, and he never had a card during his playing career with the Yankees, but here he is. So if any of you know me or have watched my videos before, you know I love the Zeenut cards. But this was from a recent grouping, and most of the cards are without the little coupon. I did get some with, and I'll show those to you. But so here we've got some guys for Seattle, Frenchie U-Halt, Aussie Vitt, Addison Reed, Sherlock, Hurst. So I'm just going to kind of quickly go through these. I don't want to labor too long on any one pickup. But these are some decent 1932s. And 1932 is a tough set because there's a couple dozen cards that are a lot harder to find than others. This little stack in my hand are pretty nice. You can see Truck Hanna there. He's a great player. I want to kind of go over some of these. And then these ones appeared to be sort of the lower end ones. But Luis Almada was Melo Almada's older brother, and he was actually the first of the two brothers, because Melo was the first Mexican American in the major leagues. His brother was signed but never played, got injured in I think preseason. Emil Edie, Walters, Ricci. I don't know that we got any of the stars in here. Fitzpatrick, Carlisle, Gaston, Liebert. Yeah, Tony Freitas was a good player. I don't think I'm going to hit everybody. Wow, that one's a little bit rough. But if you know Zeenut cards at all, you know they tend to be found in a little bit rougher condition. That's Chick Hafey's cousin, Will Hafey. I believe they're cousins. And the best card in there is Jigger Stats, but his, obviously been pretty die cut. They liked him. One of the better cards in this set is actually this player here. At least monetarily, the best card in the 1932 Zeenut set is Henry Prince Owana, Hawaiian player, native Hawaiian. But this is Indian Bob Johnson prior to, making the major leagues. And he, is one of those guys that has the numbers and an outside chance of someday potentially making the Hall of Fame. So kind of a cool one that I like to pick up when I can. There's also Adolph Camilli, who would go on to have an MVP season, in the major leagues years later. That's actually a pretty good example, a little stain on the back, but that's a solid card for a Zeenut collector. And I guess I'll use this as a comparison. This is a lesser known error that they made. They never corrected it, so he's the only guy in the set. But when they were putting the set together, you can kind of see the cards all say Coast League, the player's last name, and the team. But for whatever reason, this Otis Brannon card, instead of writing Coast League, they put Coast. So all of them are found that way. It's just kind of one of those like cool little novelty cards. Sometimes you can get a little extra for it, but it's just something that I've always thought was kind of a cool little typographical error. But the card I needed out of all of those, I had every single card that you just saw, except for this one, Quelich. And for whatever reason, he's just one of the 5 or 10 guys from this 1932 set that is almost impossible. And so I'm glad to have him. Obviously, got some roughness on the bottom. Kids didn't always take a lot of care when they were removing the coupon that exists at the bottom of the Zeenut cards. So this is how they came out of the package, and this is how you find them. 99.9% of the time, they're like this, but every once in a while you can find them with the coupon still attached. And that kind of brings us to sort of our second group. And believe it or not, one of the cards that I got in with the coupon is also one of those nearly impossible cards, and I've been looking for it for quite some time. So really excited to kind of add that to the collection. But we got one here, it's graded a 2.5. We got one that's graded a 3. Then this next one is the guy that I was really looking for. And his last name is Gillick. And if that last name sounds familiar to any baseball fans out there, this is Pat Gillick, the general manager. This is his father. And for whatever reason, it's just on most people that collect Zeenut cards. This card and that Quelich card that we got are on their want list. So 2 cards out of the 6 or 7 that I need for this full set were in this grouping. So I picked up the one. I had to pay up for it because it has the coupon still. The other one I was able to kind of get put in with the group. I'm gonna have a lot of those 32 Zeenuts probably being listed on my eBay store somewhat soon. If you haven't checked out my eBay store, it's KRY Vintage, and it's also under the name Stars of the Diamond. So check me out there. I'll put a link in the information for this video. But some cool ones there. There was also another lot of Zeenut cards with the coupon that were just kind of going somewhat cheap at an auction, and I was just like, yeah, I'll pick them up. So I'm pretty sure that's Larry French. I kind of liked the card there. This is a 33 Zeenut Sepia. You can see the color difference. And then Frank DeMarie was a good major leaguer for a long time. So not particularly high grade, but all 3 of those have the coupon. And I don't know anybody that collects only coupon Zeenuts to try to get the full run, but you pick them up when you can, how you can. And that's typically how Zeenut cards are collected. So again, nice little grouping of 1932 Zeenut cards that we got. I might just kind of start from the earliest and go to the latest. I was also able to pick up a pretty good hefty stack of well-trimmed, well-cut 1940, 1941 Wheaties cards. Now these cards are, obviously this one has 3 baseball players, and this one's one of the later cards from 1941. But this is actually a multi-sport set, and there's a lot of duplication in these, and so I will have a lot of these in my eBay store coming up. How I tend to collect, if you're new to my channel, I'm a completionist. I like having one example of each thing, but if I get multiples, I don't hoard. I like to, turn my duplicates into cards that I don't already have. So if I get multiples of something, I don't sit and hoard a bunch of them. But these are fun because these were actually the back panel of the box of cereal. And I have a full cereal box that I can kind of show an example of at some point. A lot of times you can find the ad on the bottom saying the sports stamps. And one thing, I guess a pet peeve of mine about this particular set is sometimes you'll find people trim the little stamps as they kind of look. They got the perforated edges. People will trim the stamps out and get those graded, and for whatever reason PSA will grade those, but I don't know what that is. It's just a trimmed piece of a card. This is how it was supposed to be. You can see there's a hole here, a hole here. Those were, you're supposed to form like a little binder of the stars, but these are champions of the United States of America, sports champions, famous people, that kind of stuff, but mostly sports related. But as you can see here, 3 baseball players. There's some pretty good names in here. So we've got a football coach, skating, and Billy Herman, the Baseball Hall of Famer. You got a clown, which is kind of weird. You got a Jimmy Fox up here. I think I got multiples of Jimmy Fox. I might have to check that one. But Jimmy Fox, and again, these are nice because they're not punched. You know, again, this is the back of the box of the cereal, so you know, you kind of take it how you can get it. You know, high grade isn't necessarily, it's more eye appeal, I think, with the Wheaties cards, just well trimmed. You can kind of see the edges. You know, if you were the nefarious type, you could probably trim that down a little bit more and make it look even nicer. It's not really what I do. But Jimmy Fox, that's pretty cool. You know, career era Jimmy Fox. We've got Dutch Clark, the Hall of Fame football player there. Got a pilot. So I'm going to kind of run through these pretty good. Ernie Lombardi, Joe Gordon. That's an early Joe Gordon card. Stan Hack, a pilot. So here's another example of that Dutch Clark. So we got 3 of that same panel. So definitely going to have some extras here. And some of these I just needed. I needed a couple of these. I already have a collection of these. I didn't really look too close to see which ones I had or didn't have, that kind of thing. So I'll compare against what I have and probably be listing a bunch, but that's a really nice Bob Feller there. Lynn Patrick, the Hockey Hall of Famer. And we got 3 of that one. And here's a different Jimmy Fox. So we had another Jimmy Fox back here. Yeah, so there's 2 different Jimmy Foxes, number 3 and number 14. I believe this one is 1941 and this one's 1940, but I could have those wrong. Bernie Byerman was the football coach for the University of Minnesota. And then we got Bill Dickey, the Hall of Fame catcher down here. Joe Ducky Medwick, football coach, got 3 of that one. Again, Gabby Hartnett, Davey O'Brien, obviously, Davey O'Brien Award. Joe Cronin, Byron Nelson, golf champion. I didn't even realize he was in this. That's pretty cool. I have a small collection of golf collectibles. I don't think I realized there was any golfers in here. Johnny Mize, Davey O'Brien. Is that the same? No, there's 2 different Davey O'Brien. So you can see they kind of changed up some of the players. So those are both number 6. Look the same. The 2 bottom players are the same. People are the same. Ralph Gouldall, Davey O'Brien, but they had replaced maybe Hartnett for Mize or the other, or vice versa. So that's kind of a cool variation there. And here's another of that Davey O'Brien. So I got a couple of those. 4 Davey O'Briens in different forms, but again, just a big old stack of those. And the price was right on this, so it was one of those things that could add to my collection and add to what I make available to other people so that they can add those to their collection as well. But fun grouping for sure there. And the next group I'll probably share is this. This is a complete 1961 post cereal set, and it has all the single prints in it. And I already have that set, or not the full set, but a pretty good collection of that set. So I'm going to kind of, without hitting the camera here, here's my kind of collection of those. And I have some 62s, 61s. So I will be comparing what I got today with what's in this album, kind of keeping sort of the best example for myself. And if you're unfamiliar with this set, it's pretty fun. It kind of came in 2 forms. Okay, so you can kind of find them as we see this Warren Spahn, or as we see, this Yogi Berra. Okay, so the Warren Spahn, you can kind of see has, for the most part, this black line around the edge. Okay, this card came off the box of cereal, and so it was on the back panel of the cereal, similar to what 20 years earlier Wheaties had done. But in this case, you were, told to cut them out. But then there's also an offer where you could send into the company and they would send you a sheet of 10 cards, which we now call company cards. Now, those cards are on different cardboard. They're on a little bit of a thinner stock. It's hard to tell, from here. but they're on thinner, kind of glossier stock, not paper that would be a cereal box. And they came in a perforated sheet of 10, 5x2, and you can kind of see those perforations on the edge of the Yogi Berra here. And so the company cards, you can see this one is number 1, so it was kind of held in place by a rubber band likely, which kind of accounts for that dent. But this is the company card, and this is the box card. Now, there's some true single prints in this set that were only available as company cards. I think there's only 4 cards that were only available from the company, and 30 or 40 cards that were only available in the box, because there were 16 teams, 10 players per company, you know, per team. So 160 cards came like this, so like 40 cards are unaccounted for in the company version. So if you're going for like the full master set, then you're looking at a set of about 360. I think it's just short of that, like 357 or something. But I collect company box for everyone. Sometimes there was mistakes, errors, things like that that were corrected. But I don't want to go too far into this. This would be a fun video probably to just kind of feature all by itself. But all the stars are here, and this grouping was really pretty nice. The description wasn't awesome, but you can kind of see it starts with the Yankees. There's our mantle. And as far as the mantle goes, that's a pretty solid post-serial mantle. I'm not seeing, let's see if I can shine the light on it or something. But I'm not seeing any like major creases. Maybe sometimes the creases are actually more visible on the back. But that's well trimmed. You can kind of see the black all the way around. So I mean, that should be a gradable mantle if I was so inclined. A little out of focus maybe. But yeah, it's a pretty solid mantle. And again, some guys, here's a company Bob Turley. You can really see those perforations on him. And the company ones should have some evidence of those. They often don't. And sometimes those are trimmed. The box ones, the norm is trimmed poorly. You rarely find them, you know, as trimmed as well as like this Whitey Ford is. But here's a Maris, and so this is dated to 61. So this is that year that Maris and Mantle kind of vied for the batting, you know, hitting the home runs. But I'm just going to kind of go through these. There's some pretty well-known super single prints. And for example, and sometimes they're nobodies. So this is one. Bob Shaw is one of those guys that just is really hard. He was only available on the box, and I believe he was only on like a really unpopular brand of cereal like Grape Nuts or something like that. And so they're just, he's a hard guy to find, you know, as far as kind of in relation to the rest of the set. So in Mini Mignoso, so sometimes you can have some guys that are Hall of Famers or stars like Ted Kluszewski being worth less than somebody like Bob Shaw. And, you know, here's a nice Al Kaline. And again, this group just seemed really nice. They didn't get good photos of the backs, but the backs are nice. So this is actually the first time I'm kind of going through them. I've sort of waited until I made this video to kind of go through them. So I'm actually pretty happy with this grouping. Jim Bunning, Hall of Famer turned senator. Norm Cash. And I don't remember every single print off the top of my head, but I will stop on ones that I know are single prints. Haywood Sullivan, later became like GM, part owner of the Red Sox. Jim Grant. And again, you're going through these as I am. So Jim Gentile. I think we maybe Chuck Estrada, I know, is one that's really hard to find. I believe he's a company only card. So this one, it's hard to tell in the picture, but he is a company version. You can almost see like the evidence of the perforations, but they're not like really, really distinct. I believe he's one of the 4 company only cards. Who else is Eddie Matthews, Chuck Estrada, And I remember one of the other pretty significant rarities is also a company only guy. Brown, we got Hoyt Wilhelm, Norm Seaburn, Bill Tuttle, Dick Williams, and all the great players are in here. We got Killebrew here, and it was kind of interesting in the Twins portion. When they came from the box, they were referred to as Minneapolis. Now this was, obviously they're all in Washington hats, so 1961 was expansion year. This was the year that the Washington Senators moved to Minnesota and became the Twins. So when they first issued these on the boxes of cereal, they were Minneapolis, but every single card for the box versus the company, the box will all say Minneapolis, whereas the company ones will all say Minnesota Twins. So there's a variation on every single player that was available with the company where they're listed as Twins versus Minneapolis. And Chuck Stobbs. This is, I believe, the most significant probably rarity within this set. And he's a company only guy. And so this card you could never find on a box of cereal. And overall, that's not a bad example. I'm not sure if that would get a numerical grade just because it is a company card sort of trimmed over here. But I'm not sure how they kind of treat that. I'm not the biggest grader on the planet, if you've watched my videos. So, but yeah, that's one of the major rarities there. That's just a spacer. So that Chuck Stobbs is one of the big ones. I know the Bob Shaw was also another big one. And so the first half, where I think we're all American League guys, these are all now National League in the second half, the next 200. So we should have a Hank Aaron kind of coming up here. So Eddie Matthews is kind of a tougher one, but he's a company only, so you could only get him in the sheet. So there's our Aaron. That's decent. And again, weird cuts, kids taking these off of boxes was the norm. That's it's harder to find them, well trimmed when they're box cards. Robin Roberts. Now we're into the Phillies. Gene Conley also, if you're unaware, also played in the NBA for the Celtics. Vernon Law. So we should have a Clemente coming up here. It's kind of the first crease I've seen on that Mazeroski. It's kind of like a factory, probably production crease. Don Hoke. Yeah, there's the Clemente. Good old Bob. He hated that name. But there's our Clemente. That's not bad. That is a company version. You can kind of see a little bit just the perforation marks on the top. Sometimes those perforations are like really distinct. Sometimes they're not. And I'll just kind of go through these. So we're in the Giants now. We should be seeing Mays coming up, and that's a company. So that one you can see really clearly is a company version with those perforations. And honestly, that might grade pretty well if I was so inclined. That upper left corner may kind of hold it back a little bit, but that looks pretty factory clean. No damage on the back. And again, the backs were the kind of the wild card with this grouping that I just really wasn't sure how those were going to look. And I'm more than happy with what these are kind of looking like. I think a large amount of these are going to be upgrades for my personal collection. Don Drysdale, yeah, because whoever did these are just like really well cut from the box ones. The company ones sort of are what they are. The box ones are really hard to find decent. And sometimes the box itself will have had like some wax paper up against it, so there'll be some stuff on the back. I think that's just sort of par for the course. I know Mel Roach is one of those rarities within this set. And he's not really where he's supposed to be, which is kind of means he's probably a late edition or something like that, because he's in the middle of the Dodgers group. So Dodgers, all these cards are Dodgers. Then all of a sudden you get this random Milwaukee Braves kind of thrown in there back to the Dodgers. So he's a hard one, I know that. And I'm not a dedicated post-serial collector. I kind of pick them up when I can. I do appreciate them when they're cut nice. Curt Flood should be in the Hall of Fame. Veda Pinson. We got Frank Robinson. Again, that's an obvious factory version with those perforations. Pretty sure McMillan is a tough one. But the price was right here. Billy Martin. Got Ernie Banks here. Late career Richie Ashburn for the Cubs. And we're coming down to the end. Looks like I got an extra card or two. Oh, sweet. So, pretty beat up Bob Shaw, but he's one of the rarities in this set. And as bad as that card is, this is kind of how you find them. I mean, these were issued to kids in cereal, so they often did not take the time to cut like this. And so this is kind of how it is. So this extra Bob Shaw rarity will be available on my eBay store. But that is kind of that grouping. And I could do a series or a couple videos with just the post-cereal cards, but this is more of a, hey, this is what I've picked up recently, things to kind of keep an eye out. And I do like to share my journey. And I know it's been a bit since I've made a video. I apologize for that. Real life kind of gets in the way sometimes. And, you know, I'm glad you guys are here with me. I know this is a long video. My videos tend to be a little bit longer, but it's a fun little journey we get to go on to look at stuff. The last grouping, I'll do this one first. So this is a group of wrappers that I've kind of accumulated over the years that I'm probably going to be making available on my eBay store. I love wrappers. I just don't know that I really need them right now. So there's some real rare ones in here. This looks like it's a 74 O-Pee-Chee, so nothing crazy here. We got some 75 baseball. I believe these are 73. They had the different styles on the front. And baseball posters. And we start getting into some pretty decent rarities here. You know, we got a 60s football pin-up photo here. Got inserts. So roughly circa, so here's 1972 football and the different colors. This is our tall boy, 65. So that's the Namath rookie. And you can kind of see the size difference. I mean, imagine as a kid going in and seeing this with these giant cards. You'd just be like, yeah, I want that right away. Got some 70s basketball. And I have kind of a surprise one in here that I've never shown before, and it's a really, really rare one. And that's the one we're looking for right there. So this is a 1967 Topps, kind of a test issue of Pirate stickers. And I've only ever seen a few of this wrapper available. And I found that years ago in a collection and just kind of set it aside. And it is, as far as a wrapper can be, it's about as nice a wrapper as you could ever hope to find for that. So probably going to be making that available on my eBay store. So if you're a wrapper guy, it's 59 baseball, 63 baseball, I believe. I'm not the best with equating. That's 68. There's the game. And I believe that's 69. Yeah, I think that's the advertising the what we call the decal edge. And this is, I think, the 76 basketball, those giant cards. So these are just a big old group of wrappers that I'll probably be making available. If you see something there that you really need to have or something like that, let me know. And the last little group, I'm going to really run through these because this was just a real shot in the dark. I love autographed cards. That's how I collect Topps cards, Bowman cards, that kind of thing. But this group was like every sport, every era, just a big old group. So I'm going to spend about 5 or 10 minutes, and I have not looked through this at all. So I had these were the stock photos for the auction. And I think I paid about $1.50 a card across the board. So I think it's 600 different autographs for about $1,000, $1,200, something like that. So it ended up being about $1.50, $2 per card. And so I doubt we're going to find anything amazing, but there was just all sports, all eras, fun stuff. So this is just going to be you and me kind of going through this collection for the first time. Larry Robinson. And these did come with, now this is something that I guess I'll talk about really briefly. Auction house letter of authenticity. So these are different than your regular certs, like for a single item. So like say you have this Larry Robinson autograph, you could get a cert like this for that one card. When you're buying at auction, you know, they will, in this case, JSA has issued an authentication for the group. They've looked through, kind of looked at the key cards, and have mentioned that, hey, we don't see anything wrong with any of these, and there really is a certificate of authenticity here. But whenever you're dealing with autographs, always make sure you're buying from a reputable source. When I sell autographs, and I sell a lot of autographs, I stand behind everything I sell 100% for life. Okay, if you can prove that you bought something off of me 5 years ago, 10 years ago, it would be 100 years ago, and I would honor that if it ever came back from a third-party authentication as being not authentic. And so when you're buying autographs off of somebody, obviously the best thing is, you know, a full cert. Sometimes that's just not realistic for a $15 or $20 Larry Robinson. Okay, so you want to trust the source that you're getting your autographs from. And you know, whenever I'm selling, I have my own collection. I have exemplars of pretty much everybody, and I'm comparing, and I will stand behind everything. And when you're buying something from somebody, find a seller will stand behind what they sell. Okay, so these were just sort of the photos for the auction. So this is all I saw was these two groupings. And so everything I have, and I'll show you what it is. You can kind of, there's that many autographed cards. Okay, so I'm going to spend 5 or 10 minutes to kind of go through them. I'm not going to labor too long on any one card unless we find something significant. Dick Night Train Lane, obviously kind of a later life signature there. That's not real pretty. Matt Snell. So that's the tall boys that came in that wrapper that I showed you before. Beautiful set, one of my favorites. Wish there was more action shots in it, honestly. A lot of head and shoulders, but there just isn't. So McDonald's Browns. Looks like we got a bunch of the other Browns in here too. I think this is like a Coca-Cola Brown set or something like that that came in sheets and it was cut up. So that's kind of what we got there. And autograph collecting is one of my favorite things. These are Dad's Cookies hockey cards. So you can see 80s, 70s hockey, 50s baseball. This may be my favorite set ever to collect autographed. The 53 Bowman colors. Just A, one of the most beautiful sets ever made. And B, there's no name on the front, so it's just a pure card. And when you have that authentic signature on the front, it's like adding the name to the front, and it's my favorite. I think this set, if you're like new to collecting autographed cards, this is a great start point. If you're looking to add, to start on like a signed set, just a fun, beautiful set. And I think that autograph just adds so much. One of my, and some graded cards. Let's see what we got here. Oh, some football. Bob Lilly, Chuck Knowles, pretty cool one. And Jim Langer. So kind of cool ones. One of my personal pet problems, I suppose I have with autographs is I don't care for sets that already have autographs on the front, then are signed a second time. So it's like two signatures. And everyone has their preference. I actually really enjoy, that's obviously light, I really enjoy vintage fountain pen and ballpoint autographs. I know a lot of people are really into the Sharpie autos like that because you can see them a little bit clearer. Just, it takes me away from like the 50s and 60s and, you know, into the 70s and everything. I start getting a little bit more forgiving. But I really like just the vintage feel of, you know, Dan Maloney with a ballpoint, you know, pen, just kind of signing that card. But yeah, again, this grouping, I have no idea what's in here. And so I'm kind of going through these with you. And I mean, you know, so we got like 70s hockey next to 90s basketball. I do not collect 90s basketball, so all of that's going to be available. Oh man. And some American Gladiators. Just what a weird grouping. But yeah, nothing super special here, but you never know. I mean, you know, one of the, you know, Pat Kelly, he's a tougher 70s autograph. One of the unfortunate parts of autograph collecting that's just a reality is that the cards are worth, you know, what they're worth is kind of tied to how good of a player they were. But there's also a kind of a morbid aspect in that it also matters when this player happened to pass away. And so if there's a small window where that player could have signed, their autographs tend to be harder to find and more valuable. So yeah, a lot of stuff that's not necessarily the best, but some fun stuff. I kind of stopped getting interested, and that's not a red auto like that set had. I stopped getting interesting with autographs into the 80s. I'm kind of into it up to about like 89 maybe, but I really enjoy pre-1975. That's what I'm really collecting. So it looks like there's a emphasis on maybe some Orioles. That's a Ken single. Okay, so 69. So here's a Zeke Benura. He's a 30s, 40s guy. Ron Say, Bill Spaceman Lee. So yeah, just some crazy stuff in here that's fun. Next to stuff that's like, you know, Mel Harder. Those ones are fun ones. Really tough to get all four of these coaches because they were older men in 1960 tops. Finding those with all four sometimes can be really valuable if you find those all authentically signed. And again, I don't want this to go too long. Dave Dravecky, pre-injury. Obviously, he famously lost his arm. And looks like it's trimmed. Yeah, it's significantly shorter than what it should be here. But famously lost his arm, so his signature changed a lot after that. Tony Fernandez, that's kind of a cool one. But I don't want to go through these. What is this? Burger Chef. Larry Parrish. So some cool stuff. I don't know that anybody wants to watch this whole video with me, but I got some multiples of Ollie Brown's kind of cool. Bill Russell rookie. That's kind of a cool one. Yeah, some cool 60s cards. I did not know what was going to be in this group. There's more 60s. Ooh, a Buhner. That's awesome. My brother's a Buhner fan. I'm going to put that one aside. He's going to get that. He's going to get a gift. Scott McGregor, Sal Bando, Ralph Branca. Yeah, just a fun group. I'll probably stop going through right now. These ones, signed on the back, obviously with a felt tip. These ones will be fun to sort. I'll go through. There was another group in a case, but I still haven't gone through any of these. I don't know that I need this video to be an hour long, so we probably won't do that. But here was some keys, so we'll go over those. What is this? 2008. Oh, is this a box topper? Yeah, it is. It's one of the box toppers from Allen and Ginter. Probably the worst one you could have gotten. Joba Chamberlain. Did not end up having the career they thought. I think he would. But yeah, that's, I mean, hand numbered to 15. That's a pretty cool card. I love stuff like this. The only modern stuff I really collect, I collect some Allen and Ginter. It gets a little bit repetitive for me. I love the mini Gypsy Queens and Topps Heritage. Those are really the retro sets, I suppose, are the ones that I really collect. I don't get too into like the Bowman rookies and stuff like that. But these were, I think, the catalog photos as well. So this is kind of what I had to go on. A nice Yogi. Enos Slaughter, 57, solid. Monty Irvin, Al Lopez. Yeah, cool Frank Robinson. Duke Snyder, Johnny Bench, and Bobby Thompson. So that was sort of what I had to go on as far as the best cards. And that kind of justified the purchase in my mind. And then I think these are, oh, cool. I did not realize there was going to be two Frank Robinson. So one of those will be available for sure, unless I already have. This was a Nabisco card. I think you sent that in, and it was signed. Another Frank Robinson. So these are, I think, the better cards out of that group. Steve Garvey, Alomar rookie. Jim Leyland, new Hall of Famer. Kerry Wood, Roger Craig. Roy Face. Moose Scourin. Chris Short's a tough one. I believe he, it's weird when you start doing this for long enough, you start memorizing when people died, and that gets a little morbid, but I'm pretty sure Chris Short died in 1991. Kind of a weak Bobby Bonds signature. Rod Hendricks, another Roberto Alomar. Oh, cool. Steve Carlton, 73. That's a nice card. Oh, 76 Alston. I believe he died in 84, so that was only a 8-year window for him. Eddie Murray, 85. Bill Mazeroski's home run. That's kind of a cool and low-grade card, though. Phil Niekro. Lou Boudreau. Got a couple Brooks Robinsons, it looks like. Brooks. Ted Williams Card Company, Brooks. Another Brooks Robinson. I know, earned a boot pal. Nice little run of Brooks Robinson. Elrod Hendricks. Vita Blue. Too bad that card's kind of roached, but that is a very big Vita Blue signature. Luzinski rookie's kind of a cool one. There's Bobby Thompson with there's another Chris Short. Ellie Hendricks, Ruben Sierra, Jim Longborg, Kerry Wood, Buck Showalter, some hockey guys, Felix Botman. Cool. All right. And we'll finish it off with, this is the whole reason I got it. I needed me a Guy Fieri autograph. Not really. But anyways, that is that grouping. We'll leave it on a, maybe a Brooks. 76 Brooke Robinson. So yeah, fun group. That'll add a lot of stuff. Again, I collect cards autographed, so a lot of these, like the 76 Brooks Robinson, I'm not sure if I have one of those signed or not. If I don't, I'll take the nicest, put it in my collection. But thanks to you guys. I know this is a long video. My videos tend to be kind of longer. Feel free to fast forward or, kind of skip to the part that you want to see. Let me know what your favorite card that I picked up here, what's your favorite set, what you're interested in. I love hearing feedback, and if you haven't already subscribed, I'm going to be doing a lot more videos in the next, this year. It's just one of those New Year's resolutions I have for this year to not neglect my channel and continue to grow that. And I really have enjoyed the people that I've met as I started making these videos, and I'd like to kind of get back into the swing of things, as my other career is also kind of going well, and I was able to kind of dedicate a little bit more time to that this year. But hit that subscribe button if you want to, and the like button. I really appreciate it, and happy, as always with my videos, you guys, happy collecting.